Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is Wednesday, December 15th, and this is episode number 128. I am your host, Rod Bloom. Joining me today is my friend Menachem Ickovitz. Menachem, how are you and how are things going?
I am doing well. I'm happy to be here, Rod. It's always a pleasure talking to you. We tweet a lot. We text sometimes. It's great to hear your voice. Hope all is well by you and your family as well.
Yeah, things are going well, and I guess it's like we were just talking. I guess it's been a year since you've been on here, so time flies. It doesn't seem like it's been that long since we've spoke. But we've got a lot to talk about. Man, it's just been a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world of the Cleveland Browns. I understand you're not drinking anything tonight. I'll just mention briefly. I'm drinking my first Great Lakes Christmas Ale of the season, and I actually got a 6-pack as a gift from my brother Jeff and my sister-in-law Jan, who are my brother is out this week, not going to be on the podcast, so he's on a little vacation. So he'll hear the podcast eventually, though. Yes. So I thought it was appropriate to drink one of these during the show, and we're going to try to make some sense of what's going on, or at least try to figure it out a little bit. So a lot of things happening. I mean, everybody's talking about all the positive COVID tests and everything. We also had a game on Sunday that, depending on how you look at it, you're either happy because of the win or you're kind of mad because the Browns didn't, win big enough. The Browns have 4 games left, and they're, you're hoping that they're going to make a playoff push, but the schedule's not easy. So, and now we've got more complications. So Menachem, let's kind of get into this little by little, and
where do we start? Oh.
Yeah, where do we start with all this? I mean, you look at the division, and it is as tight can be, with the Ravens at 8-5, Browns and Bengals at 7-6, and the Steelers at 6-1. In Cleveland, we kind of hope the Steelers are out of it, but you never know for sure with the Steelers, so you can't count them out.
You can't count them out until they're out. That's really what it comes down to.
No, that's right. That's right. And yeah, I mean, everybody's just so close. Anything can happen, especially with the way COVID is really ramping up now. And it's, the Browns were probably, I'm guessing, were probably hit the hardest out of any team. I don't know how you could get hit much harder.
Right.
But who knows what's going to happen in the coming weeks to other teams too. So, man, there's just so many variables out there, and you don't know what's going to happen. And the Browns play Saturday this week, so it's even a short week too. So, I don't know. The game Sunday against the Ravens was it feels like every week's a must win, but that was definitely a game that the Browns had to win to put a loss in that column for the Ravens and a win for the Browns, just to keep the division close and give the Browns and probably some other teams some hope of keeping the division tight, with just a few games left.
And the truth of the matter is, I mean, we were the only team from the AFC North to win this past week. So that's always a big advantage when that happens.
Yeah.
We're really just beating each other up. The 4 teams in the division are really just beating each other up. And it's going to be the last man standing, and hopefully that'll be us. That's the hope. But
I don't know about the other teams. I mean, the Browns still have, the Steelers and the Bengals left. So I'm assuming, obviously those 2 teams have at least one division game left. But I think they probably all have at least a couple division games left.
So I'm actually looking. Each team in the AFC North plays 2 teams from the AFC North. So the Ravens and us still have the Bengals and the Steelers. The Bengals have the Ravens and us, and the Steelers have the Ravens and us.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
it's anyone's ballgame, and this game against the Raiders, the Raiders have been not as great as good lately, and the way me and my folks from the Browns Backers Club that I belong to, we talk about it, is that was hopefully going to be a win in our column, while the Ravens play the Packers this week, which is a tough game. We have that 2 weeks on the 25th. That might if the Packers can win those 2 games against the Ravens and against us, it's not going to hurt us that much. But if we can get there, if we can win against the Raiders and the Steelers and Bengals, we still have a really good opportunity. So
yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, it's the Browns almost have to win those 2 division games to have a good chance in the division. The Packers game, it's really hard to expect to go into Lambeau, especially this season with the way things have been going, and and expect to get a win there.
Right.
Not saying it won't happen or couldn't happen, but that's obviously the toughest game left.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, and then we just all this. I guess we get back to this Raiders game, coming up. And I actually pulled up the Browns 53-man roster and was looking at, or actually I looked at I've got the depth chart in front of me. I figured that was an easier way to look at it with the guys out.
Right.
Just because you can read these names, and I mean, you start reading how many guys is it? I lost count. It's like, is it 14 guys, 13 or 14, depending on whether you count Stefanski or something like that. It might be more than that.
Right.
Guys that are out, and then you've got guys that are, either out or questionable with injury over and above that.
Right.
So, so I've got this depth chart, and then I've got, the guys out with COVID highlighted in yellow, and I got yellow all over the place, and then I got green for the questionable guys, which I guess some are COVID and some are injury. I'm just going by the out and the questionable that was on the ESPN depth chart, and this is constantly changing. I don't think we're going to know for sure, until probably an hour before the game who's going to be available to play in this thing.
Right. And I mean, the truth is, tomorrow morning, a new round of testing goes through, and it's fingers crossed that no one else gets put on the list.
Well, yeah, I mean, right now there's there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a minimum of 5 guys on offense. Maybe more. I don't know where Batonio stands. They have him as questionable on ESPN, but I saw him on a COVID list too. It's 5, not counting Batonio, and then you got 3 guys on defense, and then there's other guys who are questionable or out with injuries, like Ronnie Harrison and Greg Newsome.
Yeah.
It's a ton of guys. I mean, it's going to be almost half the starters are going to be out. You have to expect that. So, and there are some backup guys that are out too. So, they might be playing this game with like maybe a 35-man roster or something.
One of the things that they talk about is that they extended the practice squad for the opportunity, for the ability to be able to, in case something like this would happen, to bring more players up. But I mean, there's a reason why guys are on the practice squad and not in the 53-man roster. So while they might physically have the bodies, in some cases it's not the level that we would want or expect or hope would be out there this Saturday.
Yeah, and let's face it, our I don't even know if they still are carrying an extra kicker on the practice squad or not. But the third string quarterback and some of these guys on the practice squad are not really going to help a whole heck of a lot this week, hopefully.
Right.
So,
Right.
Some of those guys can help. Some of the DBs and things like that on the practice squad, great, but it's only going to do so much.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot of pressure put on, guys who, the starters who are able to play, for them to play maybe more snaps than they usually do. And then you're looking at backup guys who are going to be, asked to jump in and play, and who knows if they're even ready. So it's going to be very interesting. But like you said, it is the Raiders, and they haven't been playing well. They've got their own issues.
Right.
So you can't just write this game off. You have to hope that that the Browns can figure something out and put a game plan together. I mean, the Browns defense has been playing fairly well, and up to this point, the offense is hit harder with COVID than the defense is.
Right.
So you have to hope that maybe the defense can play well and keep the Raiders, from scoring many points. And anytime that happens, you have a chance in a game. Right. You've got a chance to score defensively. You've got a chance to, play the field position game and get some field goals and get some points some other ways. And you just don't know what's going to happen.
100%. And listen, as long as 95 is on the field, we got a chance. There's a chance. And you mentioned the Browns defense. I saw on Twitter a stat that against the Ravens this past week, the Browns defense limited the Ravens to 4 players or fewer on 8 of the 13 possessions that the Ravens had. I mean, this is major. This, considering how many previous weeks they were giving up third down conversions and fourth down conversions. And this week, I think the Ravens converted on 1 third down out of like 10 or 12 they had double-digit downs, and they only converted on 1 of them. Now, I think they converted on a few fourth downs, which was a problem. But when you get the defense getting the other team off getting the other team off the field on third down, it's something. It's big. It's something that we haven't been able to do till now, and hopefully it continues that we could do that against the Raiders this upcoming week. Yeah,
I mean, I thought the defense played very well, against the Ravens, and I know, anybody who watched the game, all you heard was every 5 minutes from the announcers that the Ravens are without their best offensive player and their best defensive player. Lamar's out and Campbell's out. Okay.
And as a side point, just like I hate the Ravens as much as anyone. You got to tip your cap to Tyler Huntley. He came in, he played well.
He did.
I'm glad we beat him. I'm glad we won. But guy came in and did what a backup quarterback should do. He put them in a position, and fortunately, the players on the Browns made the plays at the moments that were needed.
Well, let's face it. Huntley is on that team. You know why he's on that team? Because he is as close a player as you can get to Lamar. In a skill set. I mean, nobody is Lamar in what he can do, but he can play a similar, type game to Lamar. So he fits their offense. So you can plug him in, and I'm not going to say you don't miss a step, because you do, because Lamar's not in.
Right.
But it's kind of just, you just keep things going. You don't change your game plan or anything. And he stepped in and he did. You're right. He played very well. But the Browns defense, played well. And people are going to look at the 22 points and they're like, it's too many. They shouldn't have given up that many points and everything. But they won the game. And I've sworn off complaining about officiating because, I think it evens out. I think the Ravens were probably really upset because there were a lot of pass interference calls early in that game.
Right.
I'm going to tell you, the one long pass play that the Ravens completed, and I can't remember if it was Bateman or one of the other guys. He clearly pushed off on the Browns. It
Right.
should have been an OPI that wasn't called. So, and that took the Ravens down to the 1 and pretty much got them a touchdown. So, that kind of, and I'm not saying they wouldn't have scored. Maybe they would have scored anyways, but that play kind of got them right there. So, I think if you look at some things like that and what you were talking about earlier with how many times the Browns held them to, would you say, 4 plays or less on a drive?
Yeah.
The defense has been very good.
8 out of 13. 8 out of 13 drives. 4 plays or less.
Yeah, I just, there are going to be bad plays. This is the NFL, and there are very talented offenses in this league.
Right.
You can't shut teams down through a whole game. It just rarely happens now. So I think Joe Woods has done an excellent job, and I think the guys are really doing a better job of learning where they're supposed to be and how to play their positions. And I'm talking about the newer guys. Obviously Myles knows what he's doing, and some of the other guys do. But I think the newer guys are learning their spots, and I think it's showing, and the defense has definitely improved, and they're able to keep the Browns in games. So we'll see what happens in this Raiders game, and we'll see. We'll see how the testing goes the rest of the week too.
Exactly. I will also say that heads up play by JoJo Natson on the kickoff. That moment was so cool. Just seeing him have it reminded. I'll tell you what it reminded me of. I don't know if you ever saw the ESPN 30 for 30 on Reggie Miller against the Knicks, where he scored like the crazy amount of points in a very short amount of time.
No, I did not.
Okay, so it's a very interesting 30 for 30. It's called Winning Time, and there's basically what happened was in the game, the guy on the Knicks inbounds the ball. Guy falls down. Reggie gets the ball. He's inside the 3-point arc. He goes back behind the 3-point line, takes the shot, and he hits the 3. And it was like a big deal. And they have a scene in this 30 for 30 where a half a dozen people all said that he had the presence of mind. Ahmad Rashad said it. Mark Jackson, a bunch of that he had the presence of mind to, instead of taking the 2, to step back and take the 3. The fact that JoJo Natson had the presence of mind to notice what was going on, get out of bounds, get the ball. So this way it's a penalty on the Ravens, and they get the ball at the 40. The presence of mind, like I just want to put that on a loop, on repeat, because I'll tell you, I didn't know the rule. I had no idea. People that I was watching the game with, we had no idea.
I didn't know the rule. I was going to ask you if you knew it. I don't know if how many guys on the field do you think knew the rule? I'm
glad we had the one that we did, because I'll tell you, if any other, I'm not sure that who else have we had returning kicks this year? I don't know that any of them would have known. They're younger guys, Felton and DPJ.
Felton, DPJ, and
I don't nothing against them, but they're just younger guys. I don't know that they would know that rule.
Probably not. I mean,
so the fact that JoJo Natson did was just amazing. It's a very it's one of those things like the Patriots do. Like it's a Belichick kind of thing to make sure his guys know to do that.
It's one of those things you learn in your 10th or 12th hour in the office. It's not something you go through,
right?
Just on a regular practice.
Yeah,
or just something he picked up who knows when, but it's hard to imagine that many other guys knew that you could even do that.
Right. I'll be honest. I thought we were going to get flagged for having a guy go out of bounds and then touching the ball.
Illegal touching of the ball. Right. Yeah.
I just imagine that's what's about to happen. I'm like, oh man, and then all of a sudden they're like, it's on them. I'm like, oh baby, let's go.
I'm like, what? The ball? We get that, and the Browns got it at the 40. It was amazing. I mean, I can't imagine how many kick returners are going to have seen that play on highlights maybe, and are going to try to duplicate that now.
I mean, you got to imagine every special teams coach is getting that clip and showing it to their players.
Yeah. They're going to say, okay, I forgot to tell you guys this, but you can do this on the kickoff.
Right.
So let's go back to the Myles play, because we've been hoping for a few years. I'm assuming you have, I have, that Myles was going to break. We knew it was going to happen sooner or later. He's going to break Reggie Camp's record. The Browns season sack record of 14 that Reggie Camp set back in I can't remember the year, in the 80s anyways.
It was 84.
84, okay.
I only know that because I looked it up. I don't think I knew it like offhand. I was a baby at the time. I had no idea that it happened, but
I won't say how old I was at the time, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, I was older than a baby, Menachem.
All right. Just slightly.
That's the year I graduated high school, in 84. Okay. Anyways, so so we knew this was going to happen, and then so he's at 14, and then he has this play, and he has the forced fumble, the fumble recovery, the sack, and the touchdown all on one play, and he breaks the record all on one play. And this was for this season, it was his first forced fumble. It was his first fumble recovery this season. And it was the first touchdown of his career.
Yeah. This is the kind of play that years from now, when he gets inducted into Canton, they're going to be showing on repeat. That's what this play is.
Yeah. How much better of a play could you break a record on? I mean, I don't know what else he could have done.
Right. 100%.
Maybe come out and kick the extra point.
Right.
I
mean, he is athletic. He might be able to do it.
Oh, he could probably do it. He might want a couple practices, because I don't know if he's done it before, but I'm sure he could do it. He's probably the fourth string kicker, or maybe the Jarvis is probably the second string kicker. Myles is probably third. But it was really cool to see him break it in such a way, because we've had other seasons where he's been close, and then and then things have come up. He had this suspension, 2 years ago, right? That kind of took him away from it, and then last season, he had COVID, and that kind of just drained him, and that took him out of it.
And he was just never the same after that.
So this season he's been more consistent. He's been playing well, and we've been able to see what he can really do. And despite being held all the time and double and triple teamed, he's still putting up the numbers, the sack numbers.
Right.
And we know that doesn't tell the whole story, but for a guy like Myles, it's good to see those numbers pile up.
Right. And the truth is, you also as great as he was, you also see the way Jadeveon Clowney's been playing lately, and Takk McKinley in the last game was top notch. It's a scary defensive line to go against now. And Takk is out this upcoming week. I believe he was on the list of COVID players. But I mean, this is what Andrew Berry did. He built a team the defensive line that can get after the quarterback. And again, Myles is the A+ guy, and the other two have been somewhat reclamation projects if you think about it. And they've stepped up. They've played well. And so sometimes when you're not the guy, it's easier to play well. And I think that's what we're seeing with Clowney and McKinley.
When you don't have the large expectations heaped on you.
Right. And Myles is just you just love the guy. I hope he stays healthy for many, many years and stays with the Browns his entire career. And let's just keep putting out 15 or more sack seasons, and we're good.
I sure hope so. He's up to 57.5 career sacks.
Right.
At this point. I mean, it's just the start. I mean, he's only, I don't have his age right in front of me. What is he, 20? 25 or 26 right now.
That I'm not sure. That's a good question.
He's right around there, anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's still got the a lot of his career in front of him. Let's just put it that way. So looking at this COVID list, we got Stefanski, we got Mayfield. I guess is Kareem Hunt on the COVID list or the injured list? I'm not even. I think he's on the COVID.
I think Kareem Hunt got hurt in.
Okay, so injury. Okay, so Jarvis is on the COVID list. Hooper, Wills, Teller, Forbes, McKinley, Walker. I don't know if he's going to be able to come back or not. And Njoku just came off the list.
Right. So Njoku and Walker and Jamie Gillum, they all went on the list at the same time. So if Njoku's coming back, then that means that he's been fine and he's tested okay. The hope is as long as Walker and Gillum test fine and are okay, they should theoretically be back.
We can hope to get those guys back.
Right.
Of course, you guys say Dustin Colquitt punted very well.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah, I wore my Britton Colquitt jersey. And
I was going to say you probably really enjoyed seeing a Colquitt out there, didn't you?
I was so happy to have a Colquitt back there. I was wearing my Britton Colquitt jersey. So someone at the bar was like, "Did you get that this week?" I'm like, "No, it's Britton Colquitt. Like, it's a different number. Like, are you not paying attention here?" As
soon as I heard Dustin Colquitt was going to be punting, I thought of you, Menachem. I knew you were going to be excited about
it. Give me punter news. I'm happy to hear it.
That's right. So yeah, and I guess let's see: JoJo Natson, Troy Hill, John Johnson, Malik McDowell. I forget how you pronounce his first name. Odenagbo is on the list. Not sure about Batonio if he's on the COVID list or if that's an injury designation.
Name on the COVID list. I remember seeing in that he was limited in practice or something.
Yeah, that I think that's just a questionable, probably the usual questionable along with Trotter. So hopefully you get Trotter and Batonio and they stay well, and that's going to be enough spots to fill on the offensive line.
Right. It's the Veterans Day off, as they say. Right.
Yeah. And then
Thomas rule.
Yeah. And I don't know the status of Newsome, if he just where he stands on his injury.
The concussion that he had.
Yeah, I mean we can hope that we can get him back with Troy Hill, especially with Troy Hill if he's gonna miss the game. It'd be really nice to have Newsome back. So hopefully we get some good news there. But I haven't seen anything official on him yet this week. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but it's a lot of spots to fill. But I mean, I think you go into a game like this, against the Raiders, and the Raiders are pretty weak against the run, and you think you got Case Keenum. Hopefully these guys are all still there on Saturday. Case Keenum and Nick Chubb, and hopefully you have hopefully DPJ and hopefully he's got another receiver or two to throw to.
and if Njoku's back.
Njoku, yeah, that's true.
That would be a big deal.
Yeah, and and if they've got some depth at receiver on the practice squad too. Some guys that can catch the ball. So hopefully they can put an offense together that can try to put up a few points, and I don't know. I just don't know. If you're missing Wyatt Teller, Jedrick Wills, Jack Conklin, I don't know how well you expect to run the ball. I guess you can trot 6 offensive linemen out there, whoever they are, and just try to bang the ball through. It's still Nick Chubb who's carrying the ball.
And they did that. They had extra offensive linemen a couple times. They brought in Blake Hance at points early in the game last week to get that extra, to get a little extra blocking in there.
Yeah.
Because one
It
of the
worked. It had some positive results.
I think one of them, I think there's a penalty on Hans at one point, and we're sitting there, we're like, wait a minute, why is Hans in? And then we're counting like, okay, 6 offensive linemen, got it. Okay, we're good. No one's hurt.
I mean, that really didn't surprise me because I knew they were really hurting at tight end.
Right.
So, and when I heard that Hudson was going to start at tackle, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, something's going on here. So, was not surprised to see Hans at tight end, honestly.
Right.
So, or sixth, whatever
right.
you call him.
Right. The extra offensive lineman.
Yeah, more of an extra offensive lineman than tight end. But yeah, I mean, I think it's what can you say? It's going to be interesting watching whoever they have left on offense. It's going to be interesting, and hopefully they don't get decimated so much more that we're watching, an offense that resembles what the Denver Broncos put after last season.
Right.
Because if the defense, is able to maintain the personnel they have right now, I think they can. I think they can have a respectable showing.
Definitely. They're also, everyone's talking about that they should postpone the game and et cetera. I understand why the NFL is wary of doing that. I do. And, they're trying to get their product out. And, we were flexed into a Saturday game from originally it was this game against Oakland was Las Vegas was. I knew I was going to do it. All right. Sorry about that. Las Vegas Raiders. All right. So the game.
You just call them the LA Raiders. I mean,
the Raiders. The Raiders were it was a to be determined time, and we got put into the Saturday slot. So just as easily as they put us in the Saturday slot, theoretically they could put us in the Sunday slot. But
yeah.
Like I do understand that, but I understand the NFL not wanting to do that. But the idea that there are people who are vaccinated and asymptomatic and they can't play, so it just makes sense to let these guys play. Like I hope. I know there's some talk that I saw on the NFL Network that they're at the owners' meetings this week, and I know they're talking about. There's some talk about the possibility of letting people who are vaccinated and asymptomatic play nonetheless. I hope that they'll do that because really, I mean, we're talking like trying to put together a team with like Band-Aid and bubble gum here, to some extent.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to agree to let guys play who are testing positive because you can still spread it, and great if you're spreading it to people who are vaccinated and you're spreading it to athletes. Maybe the strain doesn't knock these guys down at all or anything, but you've still got the chance that these guys can spread it to other people, and spread COVID worse than it does. And everybody's opinionated on this, and I know this. My kids don't even agree with me on COVID, so families don't agree on this stuff. So how are we going to expect that we can have a conversation about this on
100%.
on Twitter or any place else? It's just how it is, But it's a difficult thing. And I understand the athletes, the athletes can do better with it, but then, how do you know what strain these guys have?
No, 100%.
And then you look at what happened to Myles last season. And I know he had some issues internally that made it worse for him, respiratory issues, I believe, but man, it knocked him down for a long time.
Right.
And, the chance that could happen to any other player by playing against somebody who's infected but asymptomatic, it just doesn't seem right to me. So, I don't know. I don't know if postponing is fair because how do we know what's going to happen in other weeks?
Right.
You know, it really seems like the Browns have a case to postpone this game, or at least move it to Sunday, Monday, or or something like this to see if they can get more negative tests back. But who knows what's going to happen next weekend? Maybe there will be 3 teams that'll be hit bad.
Right.
And then you're postponing games, and then you're pushing the season back, and the NFL doesn't want to do that. So I don't think the postponement's going to happen. I think they would probably rather see a team take a forfeit. Honestly.
Yeah, it would be a shame if that happens though.
It would, yeah.
But in a playoff race to be decided on because the team had to forfeit, whether Browns or not, any team, it would just be so horrible for a team to forfeit a game and then miss out on the playoffs because of that. And you think about it, how many? Just take a team that's on take the Browns out of it for a moment.
Yeah.
Any that's on like the in the hunt thing.
That's what almost 2/3 of the league.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
If one of these teams has a major outbreak and they have to forfeit the game because of it, they lose the game. They end up with a losing record, and then the owners say, "Hey, this coach didn't get us to the playoffs like we wanted." So now you're firing the coaching staff. It's not just the coach; it's the whole coaching staff that's gone. Like
guys are going to lose jobs. Players are going to lose jobs.
The repercussions are so huge, and look, it's for a lot. It's for much more than We're smart individuals, Rod, right? You and me, but it's not for us to decide, obviously, But and just but it just seems so simple when you say like, having a team forfeit. I can't imagine that for any team. I would hate, as much as I hate the Ravens or the Steelers, I would hate for them to have to forfeit a game. I want to beat them. I don't want them to lose because
I agree. I agree. There shouldn't be any forfeits.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the Browns get down to 30 active players, I mean, what are they supposed to do? Sign a bunch of free agents and expect them to learn a playbook in a day and a half?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, what can you do? It's going to be a very difficult situation if they get many more guys added to this list.
100%.
I think I think they can at least play a game with where they are now.
Right.
But yeah, you add many more guys, or maybe 3 or 4 defensive starters or something like this, and this has a chance to just be really ugly.
Yeah.
And not even resemble a typical NFL game at all. So yeah, let's hope they kind of stay status quo on that list, and we actually see a fair game. I had the question written down, Menachem, and I saw a couple people or a couple people mentioned on Twitter, just the thought that, this happening to the Browns now, and just some other things that have happened to them, I guess just over the time of being the Browns. But the question is, are the Browns cursed?
As Michael Scott on The Office said, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious,
Yeah.
I don't know cursed, but there's something there.
Yeah, man. Honestly, if this had happened in the week leading up to the Packers game, I'd be like, you know what? We probably weren't going to win that game anyways.
Right.
But this week against the Raiders, this is kind of one of the games that kind of needed to win. So it's a little bit harder to swallow. I just don't know. As far as being cursed, I don't really believe that the team is cursed.
Right.
I don't believe in that, but I think that I still like the direction of the Browns. I still like the front office. I still believe in Stefanski. I think this is an unusual year in the NFL. You can just look at how many teams are are sitting at 7-6 or 6-7, right in that range, and I think it seems like it's half the league. A lot of teams are right around 500.
Yeah.
So, and some of those teams had expectations, just like the Browns did, and things have just been strange. I mean, a lot of games have not gone the way people had thought. Games have been very difficult to predict. There have been a ton of injuries this year, not just with the Browns, but around the league. And now we got all this COVID stuff is really kind of seems like it's taken off and going to have an impact over, I don't know. I'm hoping it's not going to be the rest of the season. Hopefully they can contain this thing in a week or two. But it's an unusual season, and things happen like this, not just in sports, but in life sometimes where things just don't go the way you expect them. And, maybe that's just this season. So you just kind of write that off as an anomaly and you say, okay, let's just move on to next season and kind of see what happens. And it doesn't mean you don't make any changes, but you kind of say, we're not gonna freak out too much over this. Let's just kind of move on to next season if we have to, and and go from there, because we still feel like we got a pretty good thing going here.
100%. 100%.
So I have to ask you, what kind of are you doing any writing now?
So I've been writing for a Jewish magazine. It comes out once every 4 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
So I've written a few things for them. I have a friend who's an okay. Let me go back. Sorry. This magazine is like it puts itself out as like a GQ type of magazine. That's everything. All the food products are kosher, and it's run by Jewish people and thing. And one of the things that they wanted a sports page of some sort.
Oh, okay.
So I have a friend who's an at-home bartender, and he does the mixology stuff for this magazine. And he gave the person who came up with the magazine's idea, he gave him my name. We spoke, and I sent him a few of my articles that I've written from time to time, and so I've been writing there. And I'm hoping to have something else is in the works that I might be back online writing like I was before. So
excellent.
Let's hope it all works out.
So that's good to hear, because I've always thought you're an excellent writer. Always liked when we worked together, I liked reading your stuff and working with you and all that. So
I appreciate that.
Happy to know that you're writing, and hopefully whatever you're working on works out for you too.
Thank you.
So gosh, we usually get to a point in the show where we kind of give predictions about the game and everything, what we think is going to happen in the game. It almost seems kind of unfair to even do that,
right,
with this Browns Raiders game. But I'm going to peek back at last week's score predictions for the just to see who did what, and because the Ravens game, the Browns won 24-22. Peter Jones predicted a Browns win 26-22. So he was pretty close.
That's pretty close.
I had 21-17 Browns, and Jeff had 17-16. So we're actually all not too far off, but Peter was really close with it. So what do you think? Should we just kind of make up some numbers and see what happens here?
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go to let's see. Let's throw something at the wall and see what sticks, as they say.
Yeah, let's try it. Kind of like just a shot in the dark. Kind of give a score, or maybe any supporting thoughts or no supporting thoughts if you want.
Right. So I definitely always believe the Browns will win. Even the year we went 0-16, I would still pick them to win every year. I think they're going to win this week. We don't know what the offense is going to look like, so it's going to be probably a low scoring game. I would say 14-10 Browns. I think Myles is going to extend his single season sack record this week. Hopefully a sack and a half or two. Let's get that going. And yeah, I mean, go Browns. That's where we're at.
Well, here's where I am. I was going to try to look up the Cleveland weather real quick, but that'll take me too long. I'm going to assume it's probably going to be cold and snowy or something, so that'll probably make the score even lower. So I'm going to guess this is just going to be an ugly game. I think the Browns get a touchdown somehow and a couple field goals, so they end up with 13, and they hold I think the defense just shows up in this game and kind of wins it for the Browns. So they give up a couple field goals to the Raiders. They're going to win 13-6, and kind of I'm saying it's going to be a nasty snowy day, and watch, it'll probably be 60 degrees in Cleveland on Saturday. So I have no idea what the weather's going to be like up there.
Right.
So I'm going to go 13-6 in a low-scoring game, and we'll see what happens. But there again, we both picking the Browns, and that's how we do it. And if Myles gets a sack and a half or two, I'll be really happy, because I'd love to see him, just kind of add to that record. And it'd be great to see him hit like 20 sacks this season.
Yeah. If I could just go back to Reggie Camp for one moment.
Yeah.
That 84 season for when he had the 14 sacks.
That was his rookie year, wasn't it?
I'm not positive about that.
I'm almost positive it was his rookie year. If not, it was like his second year. But go ahead, sorry.
So that season, that was the year that Marty Schottenheimer took over mid-season.
Okay.
That was under Ritigliano. The Browns were like 1-6, 1-7, and they fired him. And Marty Schottenheimer was the defensive coordinator. They made him the head coach, and that was the season that we're going back to another favorite topic of ours. That was the season when Clay Matthews Jr. had probably his best statistical season. That was the year he had like 120 something 120 tackles, and he had, I believe it was 12 sacks that year.
Okay. Yeah.
Did not make the Pro Bowl because the Browns were lousy that year.
Because that's how they judge the Pro Bowl, is how your team does, not how you play individually.
Right.
This is why Pro Bowls don't make any difference, right?
That's why they actually do make a difference, because as we know, that if you don't make the Pro Bowls, then the opportunity to make it into the Hall of Fame diminishes. So it's a little tied together, as we've spoken about many times. But that 84 season, if you think about it, two guys that Camp at 14 sacks, that Clay Matthews Jr. at 12 sacks. That's pretty good, considering that the team stunk.
Yeah, 26 sacks between two guys. Yeah.
I looked it up earlier. I think the team had like 42 sacks total. So they had 26 out of low 40s. That's pretty amazing if you think about it.
I mean, that's I'm trying to remember. I looked up a couple of seasons ago what the team record is for sacks in a season, and that's got to be pretty close to it. I mean, at least in recent memory.
Yeah.
40 some, I would think. So, I mean, my point, what I was trying to say with the Pro Bowls is that they shouldn't matter, but you're absolutely right. They do matter, and they count. It's kind of like counting, how many wild pitches are thrown to a batter or something, but yeah, anyways.
Yeah. But we digress.
We definitely do, but we could do that very easily and talk about Clay for a long time. So, but yeah, anyways. So we're both taking the Browns in a low-scoring game, and we'll see if either one of us is right or if we're both right. As long as the Browns win, we're both right.
That's
So,
right.
if they win and go to 8-6, to me, then the pressure's kind of off because the Packers game they have nothing to lose in that game. They go in there and just play. If they win, great. If not, it's not a must-win game. Then hopefully they can be healthy and at a good strength to play the Steelers and Bengals to finish out the season. So we'll see. Hopefully we get fortunate and this list stays where it is, and the Browns have enough fortitude to put up a game against the Raiders.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Menachem, it's been like a year since we've spoken, and our time has gone very quickly here. What would you like to say in closing, if anything?
I would just like to say, Rod, to you and your family, very Merry Christmas, happy holiday season to everyone out there. Whatever holidays you everyone out there celebrates. If you celebrated Hanukkah like me a couple weeks ago, hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed your donuts. If you celebrate Christmas, I don't know the names of other holidays. Whatever it is, it should just be this upcoming year should be a year of happiness and good health for everyone. And just let's go Browns.
Oh man, I echo those sentiments, and it's been great talking to you. Menachem, you've been a great friend, and it's always great to have you on the show, and it's great to keep in touch with you.
Always. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. This has been the Browns Blitz, and we will catch you next time.